What's her name?
Yeah.
Uh, Her name is Levlin, but just so you know, she doesn't like it when you pet her so hard. I mean, she'll teach you quickly, so you might just want to watch out. Just be a little more gentle when you pet her. And
He says, I've always been into animals. Daddy says we ain't got time for pets at home, so I'm gonna get in as much petting as I can with this one, but I'll be careful.
absolutely, but yeah, like any animal, she is just working on instinct. So uh, she can seem sweet one moment, and the next she might not. So always be ready for it, Garrett.
Um, and he nods understandingly, and he looks up at you and he says, Daddy didn't tell me why we had to rush out in the night and leave town. What's going on?
Uh, just don't you like the ocean?
I mean, I love the ocean. It just he seemed pretty worried when he came and got mommy and me.
Yeah, I like the ocean too. We just decided to that your dad had a beautiful boat, and we'd all go out for a sail.
Well, that's nice. I mean, yeah, it's always nice to make new friends, isn't it?
Yeah, I think your dad was just worried because we met in a strange manner at night, but we're all fine now. Yeah, isn't don't you just love the rhythmic waves? So nice. Go to sleep. Let Levlin let
Make
Levlin's purr.
Yeah. So
Just
he you kind of alleviate his concern a little bit, but he says, um, Daddy says one day I'm gonna have to be the man of the house, and I just hope I can live up to him, make it back home. I haven't been out this far before.
oh well. Thing about the furthest out you make it, you know, at some point it's halfway, and then you're halfway home. So you know, we're about yeah. I don't know. I'm high, kid. Uh,
What's that mean?
is well, this boat ride is really in hopes that you don't have to be the man in the house sooner than later. You know, we're trying to make sure your dad's around for you.
Well, that's great.
Just
Well, just let me
yeah,
know any way that I can help. I'll do the best that I can. I may be little, but I'm dedicated. I work the boat with Daddy any chance that I can when he lets me.
all right, little first mate. Thanks, Garrett. I appreciate your dedication to the banking on love.
As you're rubbing his back, and he's like clearly not feeling well. It seems like he is maybe perhaps right before you came over just vomited over the side of the boat, and
Yeah, let it all out.
he's just like, I sincerely apologize. I have not been at sea before, and I didn't know it would have this effect on me. If I just had some
Can't
like,
say I've ever been out here either.
if
It's
I
a
just
first
got
for
some
both
like
of us.
bread or something, maybe it would settle me a bit. I don't know.
Just, just keep your eyes out on the horizon.
He just looks out over the
You don't want to put
horizon.
anything else in your stomach right now.
He's watching. He kind of looks back as well as like, where Cole is disappearing. He's like, May, I feel like a different man. Godros didn't speak to me, but he did help me save you. And how could I hate magic if it let me do that?
Magic is fine, just like everything, just be careful as to what you're getting involved with. The god of death is not exactly a pleasant spirit, nor are any of them in my experience.
You have experience with the spirits?
Yeah, they're dicks, all of them.
They can't all be dicks now, May.
No, pretty much 3 for 3 right now. Not that I know.
He says, well, I know I'm not a member of the Bygone Order, but with Straub gone, maybe there won't be a need for an order much longer. If the rusted watch is right, the return of magic as the rule of law may be on the horizon. What's your thoughts on that? I mean, I know it's magic's touch and go for you, so what if it became the way of life?
I look down at my hands for just like a moment or so. It's not that I necessarily reject the idea of magic. It's just that some things you want to be careful with. As with magic's just like anything else in nature. There's good, there's bad, but no one should be persecuted for who they are or what has happened with them. People should be judged by their actions and their actions alone. I think that maybe this is atonement in some way, or I don't know, maybe I'm just trying to find a proof that I deserve to exist. But I think that if the world gets to be a little easier for everyone, including everyone magic, I think that there's nothing but a gain.
I think you're right,
I don't know.
and I've definitely got some atoning to do, but that's why I'm here. So hopefully we can be on that journey together, you know?
Kind of grab his hand with one of mine. Well, I guess we're in this together then.
Oh, don't mind me. I should have died a long time ago. Nothing the spirits can do to me that life hasn't already thrown at me. What are you playing with there?
For this is just a, magic dragon whistle. As it is, as most whistles are.
He kind of nods.
Given to me by gods, and it's supposed to summon the dragon, and I don't really know how to use it.
Said well.
Any advice? Any suggestions?
I don't know much about dragons and their whistles, but nothing really surprises me anymore. But I'd say put it to good use. A dragon's a nice thing to have at your side. Reckon it's that.
I should be better.
Reckon it's that dragon from when we were fighting back in the city.
What was the name of the guy who has it now? The bird guy.
Corvus?
Corvus.
Yeah, Corvus. You talking about that one from Corvus?
Yeah.
Corvus's dragon.
Yeah. I suppose Corvus. I don't know Corvus, but.
Actually, he doesn't know. But didn't you meet Corvus in the beginning?
He
Never
was
mind.
Green flower.
Just this bird guy.
Bird guy.
This bird guy had we found a dragon egg and we gave the dragon to him. So I'm still kind of confused. I don't know if it's going to be an actual dragon, if it's going to be like the spirit of a dragon, if it's going to be that dragon or another dragon. I kind of want to just find out.
Well, I mean, if it's a one-time thing, I don't know if you want to waste it right now while we're not doing very much. But
it's a one-time thing.
But yeah, dragon's a nice thing. I guess a nice thing to have in your pocket or around your neck in this case. But could be a way back if things turn south.
I feel like being basically dragonkin, I should have a little better instincts about this, but I kind of at a loss. I don't want to just talk about me. What's going on with you, man?
Well, I'm just thinking about life after this, if I'm being honest. If I don't come back, I'm okay with it. I've lived through all this and I'm done fighting. Not getting any younger. Honestly, if I could, I'd leave Mercola behind and after this is over and maybe settle down, perhaps get a job a little bit less under the table, find a wife, have a couple of little Danos running around. Sounds
You're
nice.
gonna name them both Dano? That's kind of lame.
Yeah, I mean, the different amount that ends in their names, but I gotta have
different amount of ends in their names.
And in surprising places.
I think we're gonna make it, and you can't. You have to make it back, man. Like, who's gonna keep the potato industry in business?
Maybe I'll open a potato place of my own and give the dirty potato a run for its money. Imagine Another potato restaurant with my name on it, across from the Dirty Potato, stealing all their business.
What would you call it? The dirtier potato?
Something like that. To workshop it a little bit.
I like that. I think that would be great.
So you are going through, Jails. You're saying your little thing, waiting a minute for a response.
This is the daughter of General Beck Barton. This is Rebecca Barton. Over.
After you go through a few channels, you hear a voice come through the radio, and it says, it's kind of like through like muffled radio, but it says, "This is a secured line."
Yes, this is Rebecca Barton calling for Beck Barton.
And the voice, you recognize the voice as your father's voice.
Oh, okay.
But he says, "Who is this really?"
I get a little teary-eyed, and I'm like, "Daddy, it's me. It's Rebecca.
And
I got your letter."
he says to you, "You came home?"
For a moment, I'm not there anymore.
Well, what made? He's a little taken aback, and he says, I was gonna send it to you. I didn't know where you were."
Father, do you really follow everything that the Shroud is doing and President Shroud was up to? Is that how you feel? Is that what you strive for?
There are some aspects of my job that were harder to swallow than others. But mostly, I mean, have you seen the things that magic kind can do? Doesn't it scare you?
It enthralls me. For every bit of destruction that a magic person can do, a non-magic person can do just as bad. There's cruelty in any person's heart, but there's also kindness and love and taking every magic person away takes away so much opportunity for people that have kindness and love and innovation and just ways to go about like tradition. And it's just, you really want to throw all of that away? You want to erase it from this earth? And then I get a choke and I'm like, you want to erase me from this earth?
He says, of course not. I've been looking for you, but with my role, it's been difficult, and now Straub is gone, whether you want to call that a good thing or a bad thing, and the people are looking for someone to step up. Maybe there's a way back. And he says again, he's like, maybe there's a way back. I mean, you came back. Like I said,
Not in the way that you want it, Father.
maybe not, but things are changing. President Straub is gone, and he did have a certain way that didn't jive with everyone, and I feel like there has to be some kind of way back, some kind of compromise that can be made, so everyone's just not killing each other. Your brothers are out there bearing arms now, and it's scary. I don't know where you've been but it's scary sending your 3 sons to war against an unknowable enemy.
I'm gonna get a little angry and be like, you wouldn't have to send them to war at all if you didn't push us, Father. If you let us be your own person instead of just following in your footsteps.
Well, maybe that's true, but it's not an excuse, but it's the way I was brought up. I brought you kids up the only way that I knew. They tell you, you tell yourself you're not going to turn into your parents, and then it just happens.
I'm trying to determine at this moment
He says,
how much I want to divulge.
he says, where are you? Where are you radioing me from?
Somewhere you can't reach me. I don't know if I'm going to be coming back in one piece.
What do you mean you're not coming back? As he starts to say that, it starts to cut out. It gets staticky. As your conversation cuts.
I want to just, if I can, tell my brothers I love them, and hopefully I'll see you soon.
You say it, but at this point, it's just static on the channel that you've reached out to. We will decide as a group what the fate of the living world will be after you have stated your case. Tell us, why should the living be trusted with the ability to perform magic instead of letting my daughter rid you of this burden and give you the ability to innovate on your own? And do you condemn Noaris for her past actions?
Well then, I guess I'll go, and instead of word for word, we'll give you a gist of, of course, all who use magic will never be good. It won't always be for good. Just like not all gods are good or people are good, but for the most part, we will do our part to keep magic kind of pure, I guess. Not that we're gonna. Okay, that sounds awful. Mudbloods. No, that's not what we're doing. No eugenics. That's not the point I'm trying to make. No. But we will try to keep the evil out of magic, and anytime we hear something going on, we will try to fix it but everybody deserves a chance at magic, that's all we hope for, is just to keep it alive, not to let it run rampant or anything, but we'll keep an eye on it to make sure that it isn't used for evil too much.
Yeah.
So as you say this, Genera steps up and says, we are to trust the mortals to not do the wrong thing. Has that worked out for us before? And Uranus steps up and says, you, most of all, Genera, know what mortals are capable of.
I'll be like, first and foremost, thank you so much for having us. We're honored to be with all of you today. There's places for everything, right? It's not
Everything.
what Noaris was doing. While it may be advantageous for humankind going forward, there are plenty of magic people and species that will be hurt by this. We have Corvus. I can't remember what type of species that is, but there's all kinds of species that use and rely on magic that you're eliminating from this whole picture that I feel like is unjust. There's times and places for these things and for people to wield these types of powers, and obviously it comes with like a set of responsibilities for each beholder, but no matter it be a magical advance or a technological advance, misuse will be had no matter what. It's, instead of eliminating it altogether and then eliminating all of these magical species, perhaps it's more of a limitation and not an elimination. There's certain gods or goddesses that just freely give to anyone who asks and butters them up the right way. And then there's some that, there's certain, pros and cons to, I guess there's good and bad in all walks of life, and you're ripping apart a whole piece of the balance of this world, which is all the magic and the magical creatures that are in it. Do I hold Noaris accountable for her actions? Her actions led to the death and torture and mistreatment of so many people. I think something has to be said of that. If it's for the greater good, at what cost?
Say this, and Kalor kind of pushes forward a little bit and says, I know Corvus and his people, and they can be trusted.
I'm gonna message you and be like, Booker, I swear
Nope.
to God, you have to have
Nope.
chill.
How dare you take the high ground in this situation? The sheer hypocrisy of saying that humankind can't handle their magic, as y'all are going around and using magic to gatekeep magic. Your advancements of humankind are genocide and enslavement, outright extinction of magical creatures, and that it's only okay if I'm looking over at Galadriel, start using it to kill in your name? What gives you that right to say that you have all this all-seeing force here? How absolute dare you in this? Yes, I hold Noaris accountable the same way I'd hold any mortal or any other person accountable for. Well,
Yeah, you see that Noaris, who's standing next to Gadros, just kind of like half looking at you guys while you're talking, and she kind of just like elbows Gadros like on the side and says, "Told you they were fragile." And Gadros kind of like,
that's rich coming from you.
and Gadros like doesn't shudder or snicker or anything. Like it's taking this very seriously and kind of just like moves his arm back, and he doesn't say anything about decorum or anything. They're totally acceptable of your manner of speaking to them and whatnot. So
You do a nature
We'll
roll.
all be better off if the mortal world and the immortal world stayed separate, and magic already exists. And by interfering, puppy, by interfering and by taking magic away, all you're doing, like adding innovation, is just taking out one thing for another, not really doing anything separate. You're not going to change human nature, whether we have magic, whether we have innovation. Humans are going to be humans, and nothing you do is going to impact that, whether we have magic or whether we don't. So it would be best for everyone if we kept in our world and you kept in yours, and we just on our own separate ways. We can still be friends. We can still, we can
Clean up your own damn messes.
separate but equal, not eugenics. Have you ever heard of separation of church and state? Kind of like that. Like we can live in our world and you can live in yours, and we can still be at peace with one another without you interfering. It's not going to change anything.
Stay away.
What Drace is basically saying is, I've thought of this place called Hogwarts. So we just keep it separate.
Yeah. I mean, if they're going to interfere and take away magic and replace it with innovation, it's just substituting one thing for another. How's it any different?
You hear Typhus, and he says, "The children of this world have a point. We collectively gave them this magic. We cannot allow one of the higher beings to go unchecked and interfere." And you see Matthew, who's he blinks around, like, next to Typhus, and he goes, like you don't interfere yourself. Tell me again how 4 mortal beings even survived jumping into a cyclone on the open sea. And
shit.
Kazor says, "These mortals saved you, my son." And Matthew gets in her face and points a finger at her face and says, "Oh, like you saved me?" And Kazor takes a half step back. You see Mitvian steps up for the first time and says, "So what if they sound convincing? We can't go let them mortals take or make the decisions for us." And then Atris, one of the twins, just goes, "Yeah, let's kill him." And the other one, it's just like, "Or let's just drop this water on him and see if it crushes him." And
We'll get the bends.
And then Atris is like, "Yeah." And then Gadros says, "Children, enough. Noaris, daughter, speak." And she shrugs her shoulders and says, "Mortals are fickle, fragile things, as I've always said. We cannot let this persuasion of 4 mere humans set the standard for us and the entire world. But, as always, I defer to the World Mother. If it is her ruling that my actions must stop, I will abide by this ruling." And you see Gadros kind of like leans his head back as the wind kind of picks up. And he you see him like his mouth moving, but you can't really hear. But he seems to be like whispering to the wind. It goes on for about a minute or so as he's doing this. And then he says, "A ruling has been made and a deal struck. The mortals will not be stripped of their magic, at least not on this day. The World Mother thanks you for the journey here and for your persuasive words." And then Noaris says, "If this is truly the end of her ruling, then the meeting is adjourned. And no one will stop me from seeking vengeance from my grand plan ruined." And Gadros steps away.
Fickle, aren't we?
Gadros
Fragile, even.
He steps away, and Gadros says, "Of course not, daughter. The World Mother has spoken, and we struck a deal, as I said. The mortals are yours to do with as you will." And Uena says, "This isn't right, Gadros. You can't do this." And Gadros walks up to Uena and says, "Can't do this." And he grabs her by the throat and lifts her up into the air. And he says, "My dear, I have already done this. I will not see my daughter humiliated by the likes of these mortals." He throws her down to the ground.
You just did.
And he throws her down to the ground. Gadro says, "Anyone who interferes will be in direct defiance of the World Mother and will be stripped of their name and their domain. Stay and watch if you'd like." And he backs up to the seawall.